And now the red collar for the vampire. I am so resisting doing my little vampire voice, but it's not happening. Okay, so this is flat felting. We're gonna make this, we're gonna flat felt this collar and then attach it. So we're gonna lay out some wool. This is, as you've done flat felting with me before, it's the same technique that we do for ears. It's the technique we did for the brim of the hat for the witch. So we're gonna lay out some wool. We're gonna kind of approximate the size, like by laying our little guy down there. It's all gonna get tucked in, so you wanna make it a little bigger than what we want it. And you wanna make sure that you get nice even layer of wool, and especially at the center, it's got more wool because it won't fold all the way over to the center. So we're gonna lay out this, so you see this is like a son of a semicircle. And I'm going to use this tool for flat felting, but you can just do it with, you can do the same thing with a needle. So I'm just going to use this so the video goes faster, but it might take you a little longer with a single needle. And I have tools like this available if you want to purchase one. It's a punch tool, and it's really only good for flat felting, but it is very helpful if you're doing a lot of flat felting. Okay, so I always say with the flat felting, you don't want it to get totally stuck to your foam or to your fleece even. So pull it up, you can see how the wool has come through. And so I pull the fleece up and then very gently peel this off of the fleece. Turn it over, do the other side, do the same thing. And you notice I'm not going all the way to the edges, I'm kind of doing the shape that I want. And then, once I've gotten that felted a couple times, and turn it over again, I'm going to mark with a needle the shape that I actually want, which is this it's kind of a big collar slash cape thing. So I'm gonna mark it out. You can get a template of this, draw it out separately, make yourself a template to plan it out in advance, but it's basically just like that, like part of like imagine a circle, and this is like a section of this, like a donut or something. All right, so then once I've marked it, see how easily it just folds out and I get that nice shape. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm not gonna knock the camera too much, but I'm gonna fold that over. This part's gonna get actually attached to the, you probably don't even need to fold that part over at all. We could just poke that in. That's the part that's gonna get attached to the neck. The rest of it is gonna show. The most important edge to get nice, well, all of these edges. This edge is gonna show and all of this. So kind of wanna get those nice and crisp. And so I'm folding that over, going all the way around, so you're moving. I move my pad, my whole pad this time. Usually I move my piece on the pad, but because we're flat felting, I'm moving the whole pad. And again, I don't want this to get totally stuck. So here I'm gonna do a little more and then peel the whole piece of fleece off. You can see how those edges really got felted through. And then I peel this off. Now the trick, you see how fuzzy that is from felting through? So that the trick now is going to be, I'm not going to use the punch tool anymore because I want to get all these little fuzzy pieces felted in. And the best way to do that is by not felting all the way into my foam, just felting just to smooth this out. And you can just make one side, you know, it's okay if winds up being one side smooth and one side not, but try to get all these edges smooth because they will show. Actually, with this collar, both sides really show. It's like you see the top and the bottom. So this will be good practice with flat felting of not poking all the way through, so we can get this nice and smooth. If you want it even smoother after you finish felting it, you can iron this on a low wool setting, like a steam iron, and it'll really make it much smoother. I recommend doing that if you have an iron handy. You can do that safely. But I'm being much more gentle now, but you want to make sure it got really felted together before you can't start out this gentle, because then it won't really hold together. Okay, the other thing I should have done at this point is to look, I'm going to hold it up to the light. You can't see that I'm holding up to the light, but make sure there are some thin spots I'm going to fill in. As long as they're not holes, you probably don't really have to fill them in, but I just like it to be nice and even. So if you hold it to the light and you see more light coming through certain spots, you can patch them up. Yeah, and I'm going to try to just go back and forth. Oh, it looks really thin right here. I'm going to go back and forth, making both sides as smooth as I can get them. Like I said, it really will help. The iron will help a lot. I'm not going to stop this to do that. I'm going to attach this, but I might afterwards pull it off and iron it. And the other thing is you want to you can't just iron it. It has to be really well felted, and then the iron will tighten it up. It won't actually felt it. So make sure you really get that all holding together. And you've done enough felting that the iron will just be tightening it and smoothing it. Okay, so once you get that shape, I would work on this a while longer. I want to really firm this up. The other thing, I can rub this in my hands and help smooth it and help felt it. Ooh, let's see, that wasn't felted enough. You can see by the fact that that got all messed up there. Anyway, make sure it's really holding together and really well felted, and get your edges smooth. And then once you're happy with it, I mean, I think that looks okay. Like I said, I probably will rip it off and work on it some more, but once you're happy with it, oh, also, before we've gotten even this far, you should make sure that it fits. Whoops, all right, this is why it's good to, so make sure it's big enough. I can actually stretch this out a little bit. I want it to come all the way from the edge of that collar to the edge of this collar, so I got lucky. I stretched it and got it to fit. And then I'm going to poke it in, starting on one side, and go all the way around. It's eventually, we want it to be up. So my first round, I'm going to poke it the other way, down, and then I'm going to flip it up and felt it again. So we're going to tack this in at the edge all the way around. You could even just leave it like this. It looks like a cape. I made this one kind of longer than the other one, so it could just be a cape. So let's just try this both ways. You can make it even longer than this and really make a cape, or yeah, and this one it looks like from stretching it, it got bigger on this side. Or you can flip it up and felt it some more, and in the up position. If you make a smaller collar, then you can also play around with it and curl it out and felt that down right there. Okay, so you can really play around with whether it's a collar or a cape. Make it both. That looks pretty cool. And our second vampire's done. I definitely made his collar a lot bigger, so you can make that a lot smaller. But I think it's cool that this one's a cape. This one's a collar. Anyway, ooh, we're like barely on the camera screen. Oh, okay. I don't know what I was just thinking. I thought I forgot something, but I think we're good. We got all the elements of the vampire now. His creepy face and fangs and widow's peak hair and the little outfit. And you see I did these hands. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention, is that I added little, since he's got a bright white shirt on, I added white cuffs and little cufflinks, which I think is a nice touch, and I'll probably go back and add on with this. And yeah, any other details you think of, you can add. And if we're in live Zoom together, you can make some suggestions and requests for stuff that we can demonstrate for a live class. But hopefully you have a lot of fun making your vampire. And happy Halloween.